A year ago, Francis fought as Ziam, the smile killer, was on the outside looking in. He fought out his UFC contract, he lost in impressive fashion to Terrence McKinney, and all of a sudden a short notice call to take on the undefeated Cage Warriors man, Mick Figlak, presented itself, and fought as Ziam entered that octagon. Like when Robin Williams is getting his life together in Mrs. Doubtfire. Wow. Papa's got a brand new bag. Fada Ziam looked amazing in that fight. And coming up this weekend, he's taking on the former Cage Warriors top man, the former champ over there. It is the Black Country banger, Jai Herbert, at a Renegade Jiu-Jitsu. And for Jai Herbert, you look at the UFC run, it's been absolutely insane. Knock him down, drag him out fight against Francisco Trinaldo. Knock him out, drag him out fight against Ilia Topuria. Knock him out, drag him out fight against Canada's Kyle Nelson. And his last time out, if Jai Herbert didn't have that illegal blow, he would have beaten Ludwig Klein. That really would have happened. But it ends up as a draw in the end. Two 28-28s and a 29-27. So Herbert on his way to winning that one. The infraction in the third round, it cost them a win. So now Jai Herbert moves it forward. He just turned 35. He's taking on the 26-year-old Fada Ziam. And Matt, when I look at this fight, I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. Jai Herbert landed that crazy kick against Ilia Topuria, nice. And it's one of the craziest kicks we've seen to not knock somebody out. But Jai Herbert's primarily a boxer. Fada Ziam, the K1 lineage, you see it with his kickboxing. Fada's last time against Mick Figlak, he was picking him up and throwing him around the cage.
This is what I want to bring up about Faris Ziam, and if you want to disagree with it, please do. When's the man going to get a knockout in the UFC? I love his striking, and I really do think it's an extremely technical version. He can fight moving backwards, he has good volume, we know how good the kicks can blend in with the punches, but for Ziam, when are we going to see the power on the other side of that technique? And I think that's why I bring it up in this matchup. We all know how hot Jai Herbert burns in most of his fights, and for Faris Ziam, if he is just going to pitter-patter on the outside, for lack of a better term, really use his volume more than his own power shots, how is he going to fight those initial 4 or 5 minutes of this matchup? Because if Herbert really is in his face, making him think on the balls of his feet, that was difficult to say, and really try to decipher, okay, what is Jai Herbert throwing at me in terms of his boxing? Because like you bring up, the kick is something that is very nice, but his hands are what get the majority of his work done. How does Ziam fight if Jai Herbert doesn't respect the power coming back his way? That's the big question I have, because again, I love the striking of Ziam. I would just like to see him hurt a few more guys with his striking.
Faris Ziam trains at a Climax Fight Academy. And that goes hard, so good for him, Matt.
He's almost there, folks.
When you do look at it, though, I mean, both of these guys struggle when they're backed up against the cage. We saw Ziam play out well against Mick Figlak, but for Jai Herbert, he can kind of get wall installed on his own volition. And if you look at it for Herbert, gets it done at long range. For Ziam at long range, a lot more kicks. And he will vary his boxing in there, but for Ziam in the UFC at least, where he struggled is with the takedown defense and just trying to keep guys off him. And I know he's won fights in some of those circumstances, and he's had some close fights in some of those circumstances, but it really is like the Holly Holm effect.
Is Shotgo a good comp? Not necessarily, but just in terms of great volume striker, if he can keep it on the feet, he's going to really give guys trouble with that one area.
I don't know. We'll see if Fares can get finishes, and I guess that remains to be seen.
Like for Jocko, the strikes look beautiful, right? Like he can do everything you would ever want a striker to do. It's just there's not that crazy amount of power behind them. And for Ziam, again, I love the ability to mix his combinations in with his kicks. Again, his striking really is picture perfect, but he strikes a lot more like a Bisping than like a Vanderlei Silva, right? He's going to throw everything at its full potential and not just wing massive power hooks. But this might be a fight where winging some of those power shots to get your opponent's respect might actually help him open up the rest of his game.
And we'll see how it plays out for these two guys. If you look at it for Ziam in the UFC, lost to Don Madge, a close fight against Jamie Mullarkey, a close fight against Luigi Vendramini, the win over Figlak. For Jai Herbert, the win over Kama Worthy, that one against Kyle Nelson, leg kicks played effect in that. The favorite in this matchup is the former Cage Warriors champion that went over Kane Carrizosa way back when. Jack Grant as well. We have a look at the topology votes. Surprise to us there to you. I didn't like Ziam's last time out going into it, and I liked him way more than I should coming out of it. So I have this like rose-colored glasses thing going on with myself, and I think the fans will. I'm going to say over under 65% Ziam.
I think it's going to be the other way. I think Herbert will be the favorite.
And it is the other way. 848 total votes, 67% Herbert, 70% by decision for the 33% that have Ziam, 75% by decision. So Herbert's the favorite. The fans have him to win. Who do you have?
I think Ziam has all the skills to go through and win a decision. I think the kicks are really going to be important for him. If he can go to the leg, go to the body enough to slow down some of the attacks attack of a Jai Herbert. I think he does have at least a game plan to go out there and get the win, but I think the aggressiveness of Jai Herbert, this is what I'll say at least, Jai Herbert will be the one who decides whether or not he wins or loses this fight. If he walks into a big shot, it's his own fault, but guess what? If he's able to really pressure Ziam up against the cage and land his own combinations, I think it's going to give him the best chance to win. So for that reason, I'll pick Jai Herbert.
I like the varied striking attack and the fact that Ziam can pick to all 3 levels, and if you're not worried about the threat of the takedown, that just opens up the younger Ziam's game a little bit more. So for me, I've got the smile killer out of France, Fares Ziam, Mac going with the Black Country banger, Jai Herbert to get the win. Really, the next fight. Andre Muniz taking on Paul Craig. You are not going to want to miss it. Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, we always say.
Let's get into it.